Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Hardcore Casual. A bit of an adjacent, I guess this is in conjunction with the previous video. Free market does pretty much seem to be the appropriate title, as it's been announced that Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn has now been agreed to formally take place on December the 23rd, potentially in Abu Dhabi, if the UK, if they can't agree a deal with, I guess, the British Boxing Board of Control for Conor Benn to fight over here. Now, I remember when Matchroom were doing the Abu Dhabi shows, the point of those shows was supposed to be something called Champions Series or Championship Series. So it was about having like big title fights on there. So last year you had Dimitri Bivol and Zurdo Ramirez. You also had Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron, and I think there was a couple other titles on the line as well. I guess maybe this year that's not the case, or maybe they're just waiting on that championship series, or potentially maybe even Dimitri Bivol might end up on that show as well. I do know that there was talks of Anthony Joshua potentially fighting on the same card, so I'm assuming it won't take place. If the card takes place in the UK, he won't be on it. But if the card does take place in Abu Dhabi, then I can see Anthony Joshua also being on the card, because the site fee will be worth the I guess will be, will pay his purse, as well as paying the main two guys' purses and whoever he's gonna be on. And no doubt that event will be DAZN pay-per-view. I mean, look, it is what it is. It's going to happen, and at this point, it's going to be one. It's going to do really big numbers, especially if you end up having like a double main event. The interesting thing would be who Anthony Joshua does take on. We've been told that it would be no worse than a top 15 opponent, but as we know, it won't be the Ring Magazine top 15. It might not even be the BoxRec top 15. It would probably be a top 15 of an actual sanctioning body. I could potentially see it being the WBA. However, I can't see it being Manuel Charr. I know he's talked and said that he wants that fight, but it's only for the simple fact that he's supposed to be mandated to face Jerome Miller. And unless he drops that regular title, I don't think he can get out of that. I don't think there's any exemption that he can have, because the mandatory for that has been called. But in there's also people, I guess, like Lenny Apero. I think Jonathan Goudry is also in those rankings. So I wouldn't be surprised if is someone on that lower level. I can't see it being Ajit Kabayel. I know the name's talked about a lot, but outside of the Derek Chisora performance, I don't think anyone's going to remember him in any great capacity. So if they try to trade off of that, doesn't really make much sense. Can't be Otto Wallin, because he's only just fought the other day. He definitely ain't going to be back out until at the very earliest sort of February, March next year. It won't be Frank Sanchez. I don't think they would see any potential in that one. Obviously, Arslanbek Makhmudov's on the Fury and Ngannou undercard, so it won't be him. It won't be Bakoli. He's already on the undercard as well. So I'm not really sure who it could be. The only ones I could really think of is Lenny Apero and Jonathan Goudry. It can't even be F.A. Ajagba yet. No, I've been screaming for that fight for the longest time, but he's actually fighting, I think, on the 18th of November. He's on a top rank card, so it won't be him. It will be interesting to find out exactly who they potentially would get if he does do that fight. It's not going to be Hrgovic, because I guess Hrgovic will face Wallin for that vacant title, or they'll have a match, I guess, for the interim bout, and if the mandatory doesn't occur, then whoever wins that will end up being elevated. So yeah, that's all interesting. It would be interesting to know who else could be on that card. I mean, imagine a card where Dimitri Bivol, Anthony Joshua and Benn and Eubank are all on that card. I mean, look, that is pay-per-view worthy at this point in time. I would pay. I'd have no issues paying the extra on top of the subscription, and my subscription doesn't run out until April anyway, so I don't pay any additional money per month, so it doesn't even feel like an additional expense at this point. But if we talk about obviously the fight itself, I mean, look, we all know it was almost like the worst kept secret. We knew that Benn Eubank, or Eubank Benn, I guess, is it 3 or is this now its own new mini series and mini drama? It was always gonna take place. That seems like a muted date. It would be interesting to know how that works in terms of people, you know, Christmas and all that, especially if it's out of the country. I'm sure a lot of people might be hesitant to travel because they've got family commitments, or, you know, maybe you've got presents and stuff to buy. I'm not sure. That might be an interesting thing. But yeah, the fight itself, I mean, I'm happy with the fight, as long as, you know, Conor's cleared to box at this point. I'm sure that they've got all the VADA testing in place and any local commissions that they've got for Abu Dhabi or any other places like that. So yeah, all good. As far as I'm aware, there's not going to be any catch weights as well. It will be at a 160 pound limit, and I don't think there will be any rehydration clauses either. So yeah, it'll be interesting to know. I'm assuming, like I said, if they try and get Anthony Joshua and anyone else that hasn't been out this year that needs to get out on that card, it will most definitely be in Abu Dhabi. But I reckon if it's just Eubank and Benn and Joshua and the rest aren't on it, then if they can do the deal with the British Boxing Board of Control to, you know, lift any sanctions that Conor Benn does have, I can see that taking place also. So yeah, I guess we'll wait to hear for more news, but let me wrap that one up for now. As I was saying previously, so I do have an interview coming with Jaya Patel that will be taking place, well, you'll see that tomorrow, probably afternoon, between either late afternoon, early evening, just depends on when I get to upload it. But yeah, look out for it. I feel like it's going to be a good one, and I feel like it's content you're going to really appreciate. So thank you very much for watching, and I guess once again, so Hardcore Casual out.